How's it going, guys? My name is Dice. Welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'm going to be helping you guys determine which playstyle is meant for you, right? Everyone has their own unique playstyle, and kind of like Rocket League, there's no game like Rocket League, right? Just like no one player has the same playstyle as another. I came from Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, and a bunch of other games where, Valorant is just another FPS game. But in Valorant, there's different agents that are meant for different play styles, right? Um, Rainbow Six Siege, same thing. Rocket League, everyone has the same car, right? I mean, no player has an advantage over another inherently. So that doesn't mean there isn't different play styles, though. You'll notice on, pro level teams, there's, a dedicated ball chaser, a dedicated, just solid last man, a good second man. People who are really good defensively, people who are really good offensively. That's how they dedicate each play style to each player. So, I've seen this question floating around the Rocket League community for, a long time. How do I know which playstyle fits me? Should I ball chase? Is ball chasing bad? How do I beat ball chasers? All these types of questions that hopefully I can help you guys answer in the video. So, starting off here, there's different Rocket League roles, based on the mode. Obviously, there's no place, in 1v1, there's no specific playstyles for everyone because, 1v1 is literally just a game of adapting. So I'm not even going to go over 1v1. This is going to be more towards 2v2 and 3v3, the main game modes in Rocket League. Mainly 2v2 though. I don't even play 3v3 besides six mans. So there's 4 different playstyles in my opinion on a broad spectrum. The first one, ball chasers, right? A lot of people inherently think ball chasing's bad. You couldn't be further from the truth, right? Ball chasing is actually a very high skill playstyle, depending on how you're doing it. For example, there's players like, Ahmed. He was arguably the best player in the world at one point, and he's a ball chaser. I could name a bunch of players that are ball chasers that are pro level, that are pros. So just because you're ball chasing doesn't necessarily make you a bad player, and it's not a bad playstyle. It's actually a really important playstyle, and no Rocket League team would function without a ball chaser, someone playing offense, someone applying pressure, someone getting a ball to a bad 50, someone doing this, someone doing that. So it's really important to have a ball chaser. The second playstyle I would call it is a defensive playstyle, right? Someone who, in a 3v3 context, someone who's always, last man, someone who, is making sure that they're not getting scored on, someone who's there just in case that things go wrong, right? That player's needed in every team as well. And then you have this one, an aggressive but not a ball chaser. So these are second mans, right? So a player that is always upfield, but he's not going for insane risks, right? He's not just throwing the ball away. He's just aggressive, applying pressure, but he's not the first guy up the field, right? If the ball chaser gets beat in a 3v3 context, this guy is the guy that's, forcing them to have a bad hand, essentially, right? And then I have this role, passive but not defensive. This can be a little bit complicated. So when I think of the word passive, I think of someone that, is just waiting, someone that doesn't take risks, someone that is just holding down the fort, someone who's just making sure that nothing goes past them, right? This is called third man, right? But the difference between being passive and being defensive is someone who's defensive is sitting in the net basically like the whole game. Like if you're just defensive, you're sitting in the net, not being part of the play on offense at all. But what a third man does on offense is they're still in the play, but they're in a position where they can't get scored on, essentially. It's called, just being safe, right? So I'm going to go through how to determine which of these playstyles fits you, and I want to remind you guys that there's no one playstyle fits all, right? Maybe you're a mixture of a few playstyles because no one has the same playstyle. Everyone has their own unique playstyle that they develop through their own ways of training and their own hours and their own way they look at the game. So even if some of these sound like none of these sound like you, even if none of these sound like you, that doesn't mean that you can't pick and choose a few of these traits and transfer them over to your own playstyle, right? So a few questions you might ask yourself when finding a playstyle is do you find yourself always staying pushed up, not rotating back because you like to constantly and continuously apply pressure, to make them have a bad 50 so it's an open net for your teammate? If that one's you, you're definitely have the ball chasing style. And like I said, it's not always bad to be a ball chaser. A lot of lower ranks or sometimes even higher ranks that just aren't as smart, think that like ball chasing is like you're a ball chaser. It's just I always find that comment very funny because it's not bad to be a ball chaser. It's actually, in my opinion, the hardest play style to be a ball chaser. You have to be the fastest player in the lobby, right? Now there's dumb ball chasing and smart ball chasing, but ball chasing isn't necessarily bad. But if you always find yourself pushed up and you're not rotating back, you have the ball chasing role. You're just the fastest player in the lobby, and you're always forcing them to do something they don't want to do. You're making them have a touch that's uncomfortable. You're making them give away the ball to your teammate. You're right. For the next one, do you find yourself just waiting for your teammate to play offense so you can score the easy open net? Like if your teammate's a ball chaser, do you find yourself, just waiting mid, letting them do what they got to do, and then you're there? That's just called being a good passive last man, right? You're not doing anything crazy. You don't need to have insane mechanics. You just sit there and you can just let your teammate do all the work. That's pretty much my solo queue playstyle, especially in 2v2, because you'll find often a lot of times in 2v2 you're going to have a lot of ball chasers on your team because it's a selfish role, right? Being a ball chaser, you don't have to trust your teammate. You can just chase around the entire pitch. But if you're a good last man, pretty much nothing goes past you with you having anything to say about it, basically. Do you sometimes like to be aggressive and sometimes like to be passive depending on the opponents and your teammates? That's called adapting, right? This trait doesn't actually fit into any of the ones I categorized, but it's important to have a flexible playstyle, because if you have one playstyle, that means you can be countered easily. Like if someone knows, oh, this guy's just going to sit back, then they could just change their playstyle to counteract that. If you're just trying to be flexible, that's really good, and I would actually advise against just having one playstyle. I'd recommend to have a flexible playstyle where you can change depending on the opponents and your teammates. Do you see yourself as more of a leader and in control of how the game goes, or do you just kind of go with the flow and adapt? If you're a leader, I would really recommend you either take the ball chasing role or the aggressive but not ball chasing role. The reason ball chasing can be bad is because it can tilt your teammates, especially if you're in like a lower rank, because a lot of people, like I said, I keep bringing this up, they don't understand that ball chasing isn't bad. It's actually really important. So if you really like to be in control of the game, you should definitely be ball chasing around, making sure what's going on, controlling the game, or just being aggressive at the very least. But being passive and defensive, you're not controlling anything. You're kind of just going with the flow. So my second question was, do you just go with the flow and adapt? In that case, you should be a passive or defensive player. And by the way, all these play styles you can get test yourself with. I just want to point that out. I wrote these down because these are all the play styles I either play with, play against, or it's my own play style. Like for me personally, I play all of these playstyles. I would argue pretty well. When I first started out the game, I was like plat or gold. I started out with ball chasing role, but I wasn't good at ball chasing, so then I switched to passive. Being a passive and defensive playstyle is the easiest way to get high ranked. But if you want to control the game and be a leader, and maybe you want to take your game to the next level, you've got to be aggressive. Nowadays, no teams are going to want a player that's just sitting back and being defensive, because that's every player. They want someone who's actually really fast, mechanical, quick, speedy, can think fast. Being passive and aggressive just won't get you to pro level, in my opinion, nowadays. And at least even if you are, you're just going to be subbed out like that because there's nothing special about you. You're just sitting back and waiting. But being really fast, like think about the best players in the world right now. Zen, Daniel. All right, these players are super fast players. They're not just your regular defensive players. So they're not going to be subbed out anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and make sure to join my Discord community. I'll have it linked down below, and I do stream on Twitch. I'll link that down below as well. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.